14-13 opening week victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The only other way it could be more important was if it was a division opponent. But this home opener was real important for our program here, and the guys responded. We played hard today.
Yeah, they did do that, and if you watch the Jets today, you know there's no doubting Thomas. In only his second season, Blair is believable. Blair Thomas began the season just the way many thought he would, as the go-to man in the Jet offense.
Yeah, I got a chance to get into the flow of the game, and I knew where the linemen were going to be on certain plays, so it was a good game for me to really get relaxed and comfortable with what was going on out there.
92 yards on 23 carries for Thomas today, and he got some help from his offensive line, but mostly it was Thomas and his creative style.
He's got great cutback ability. He's got speed to sweep. He can come out of the backfield and be a pass receiver. He can do it all. I compare him very favorably with James Brooks, who I've been with in Cincinnati. They're the complete back.
He just, I mean, sometimes there was nothing there, and he'd make an 8 or 9 yard run out of it. I knew when I saw him in the locker room before the game that he was going to come out and have a great game, and he did.
If only Blair Thomas can stay healthy. It was a problem last year in his rookie season, and it was a problem dating all the way back to his outstanding career at Penn State. Week 1 is in the books. So far, so good. And barring injury, Thomas is well on his way to a 1,200-yard season. All right, a couple of other notes on the game. Leahy's 3 field goals moved him past Fred Cox and into 6th place of the all-time scoring list. And wide receiver Al Toon did not play. The Jets tell me before the game that Toon was recovering from post-concussion syndrome. Let's move on. The Patriots opened at Indy, the only team they beat last year. Coach Dick McPherson was pumped up for the debut, and when Tommy Hodson went to tight end Mark Cook, it was 7-0 Pats, and yeah, give it to him, Mac. It's like you did at Syracuse, but Indy answered. Jeff George to Bill Brooks, 24 yards, 10-7 Pats at the half. Third quarter, Jason Starosky booted one from 39 yards out, 13-7 Pats, and Mac is even more fired up, a la his days at SU, right? And then late in the game, George is sacked, and Mac went wild. You think that guy's a happy man? New England's first win since September 16th of 1990, 16-13. They get it done today over the Colts, or 16-7 was that final. Now, there were 20 other teams that tried to open the season with a win today. So for the rest of the highlights and lowlights of Week 1, here's Swanee.
Prior to the snap, still third down. Jerry Glanville's Falcons opened in Kansas City. Not a good day for his quarterback, Chris Miller, who was picked off 4 times this afternoon. Albert Lewis got 3 of them. In the meantime, the All-Pro, Steve DeBerg, was all business today. A touchdown here to Emil Harry, 14-3 Chiefs. In New Orleans, Jim Mora and Bobby Hebert back at quarterback for the Saints, and Hebert hit Floyd Turner with the game-winning touchdown pass. Just over a minute left in the game. John Casey had a chance to tie it for Seattle, but his 37-yard field goal try sailed wide of the upright. Cleveland head coach Bill Belichick had his coaching debut spoiled at home by the Cowboys. Troy Aikman had a pair of touchdown flips, one to tight end Jay Novacek and one to Michael Irvin. Ken Willis 4 field goals, and the Cowboys win. In Green Bay, a nightmare for the Eagles. Randall Cunningham goes down with torn ligaments, could be gone for the year. But Jim McMahon stepped in to fire 2 touchdown passes, one on a spectacular catch by Keith Byers in the end zone. The Pack turned it over 5 times today. In Denver, Dan Reeves and the Broncos opened against the Bengals today, and John Elway was nimble. John Elway was quick, 2 touchdowns on the run, and one through the air, a 52-yard heave in the end zone for Michael Young, and Denver trounced Cincinnati. In the Astrodome, Jack Pardee's run-and-shoot Oiler offense was clicking. Alan Pinkett did the running, and Warren Moon did the shooting with a pair of touchdown flings. This one to Tony Jones, who beat the coverage, and the Oilers pounded the Raiders. In Phoenix, they were baking in the sun, but it was worth it today because Tom Tupa, subbing for the injured Tim Rosenbaugh, fired a 36-yarder to Ernie Jones. The Cards toppled the Rams, who turned it over 7 times. Our final stop is in the Steel City, where the Steelers got a 34-yard touchdown pass from Bubby Brister to Chris Callaway to win it by 6. I'm John Swantek, Big Board Sports.
All right, thank you. If you are a little sluggish out there tonight, that last score there should wake you up. Washington over Detroit, 45-0 in the late game today. Largest margin of victory, and Washington Redskin history. All right, our busy day continues from the gridiron to the hard courts of the National Tennis Center in Flushing. Fourth round action today in the U.S. Open, and Wimbledon champion Michael Stich in the far court here was unhappy with the way he played today, but still beat American Derek Rostaniel in 4 sets. Stich says he is still not very comfortable on the hard court, but he is on his way to the Open quarterfinal. In the women's draw, 15-year-old Jennifer Capriati in the far court continued her bid to become the youngest U.S. Open champ ever. Capriati took care of Joe Dury in 52 minutes, 6-1, 6-2. Jennifer will now meet Gabriella Sabatini in the quarters. Gabby, right here in the near court with the hat. She overcame 5 double faults and 41 unforced errors, but she is through to the quarterfinals. Then tonight, second-seeded Stefan Edberg played under the lights against Michael Chang. Unbelievable point here. Enjoy this. Edberg in the far court.
This is unreal.
Edberg advances in straight sets, 7-6, 7-5, 6-3. So the winners today, we'll start on the men, Stich and Lendl, and then we add Edberg, and that match just over a few moments ago. And for the women, you got Celis, Sabatini, and Capriati all advancing into the quarterfinal round. The baseball pennant races are certainly heating up, and we've kept tabs on those. The best battles remain in the AL East and the NL West. We'll check in with both in a moment. And still ahead, we've got a preview of the 1991 Union College football team as the Dutchmen look to maintain their level of excellence.
Big Board Sports, sponsored in part by Cotman Transmission, Route 9 Latham and Central Avenue Albany, and by True Value Hardware, your store of first choice.
I'm Rodger Wyland. Welcome back to Big Board Sports at a busy Sunday night. And here we are, the 1st of September, and the Atlanta Braves refuse to fold in the National League West. Bobby Cox's troops wrapped up a weekend set at the Vet in Philly, and the Braves got out of the chute quickly and took a 2-0 lead in the third when Terry Pendleton took Bruce Ruffin downtown, his 17th home run of the year. But the Phils came back to tie it at 4 in the 9th and then won it here in the 10th when John Morris led off with his first home run of the season. And yeah, the Phillies rallied to beat the Tomahawks, to beat the Braves 5-4. Now the Dodgers won today in Chicago in a big way, 12-3. Dodgers and Cubs from Wrigley today. And in the first inning of this one, Ryan Sandberg, base hit off Ramon Martinez. Chico Walker saying, I will test Darryl Strawberry's arm. He did and lost. And Strawberry said, take that, baby. Eddie Murray was the story. 3 ribbies today, including this towering shot to dead center. The Dodgers blow away the Chicago Cubs 12-3. So it's all even now in the National League West between Atlanta and Los Angeles. Cincinnati is 8 games back. The Mets, meanwhile, continue to plod along, now closer to the bottom of the National League East than the top. Buddy's boys dropping further below the 500 mark. We're in Cincy this weekend, where what have they been waiting for? They finally woke up this weekend. Even Howard Johnson, who was putting up MVP numbers earlier in the year, has been slumping until the last couple of days. Hojo connected again today, 29th of the year. 3rd home run now in the last couple. And all the Mets, everybody had their hitting shoes on today, even Keith Miller, who doubled home a couple of runs. The Mets led 7-3 and went on to rout Lou Pinilla's Reds. The final was 9-4. Here's the way it looks in the NL East. Pittsburgh with a 7-game lead on St. Louis. St. Louis won today 14-1 at San Francisco, and the Bucks lost tonight in San Diego 7-4. Montreal 8-1 over Houston. Meanwhile, the American League East, the Blue Jays are trying to shove the Tigers a little further back. The Jays in New York to wrap up a weekend set with the Yanks. And the Jays get on the board first off Yankee starter Pascual Perez. And this is John Olerud. Goes the other way, scoring Mookie Wilson with an RBI double. 2-2 in the 8th, and Kevin Moss tees off. And Moss has been very disappointing this season, but this 2-run double over the head of Devon White, scored 2 and won it for the Yanks. The final was 4-2. Boston big tonight. That is now a final 13-2 at Seattle, and Detroit coupled that with a win at Oakland 5-2. We got highlights of that. The Tigers in Oakland, and Dave Henderson gives the old Hen-Do corner something to cheer about with the diving catch. And the bad boy corner was very delighted. The day belonged to Tiger starter Mark Leiter, who struck out 5 for his 6th straight win. Sparky's team led 3-2 in the 9th, and Travis Fryman added a little cushion here. 2-run shot. And Detroit beat Oakland by the final of 5-2. Here's the way it looks now in the American League East. Toronto still at first. Detroit is close to within 2.5. The Red Sox are just 5 out. In the American League West, shades of 87 when defense, pitching, and timely hitting lifted the surprising Twins to the World Series. Right now, Minnesota is turning the West race into an absolute joke. Twins beat Baltimore today 14-3. And let me update you on those standings out in the West. Minnesota up by 8 on Oakland. Chicago is 8.5 back, so the Twins certainly in control. Here's some scores in the American League. Chicago 6-1 over Cleveland. Milwaukee beat California 3-1. Texas 6-4 over Kansas City. Out of the Eastern League this afternoon, Reading over at Heritage Park beat the AC Yanks 7-4. Still ahead on Big Board Sports, we'll talk some football with Al Bagnoli and the Union Dutchman and Joe King about his RPI Engineers. Plus, back to the NFL, and we'll preview the Monday night showdown in the Meadowlands. All coming up next on Big Board Sports. I'm Rodger Wyland. Welcome back to Big Board Sports. The Union college football team, on paper anyway, appears to be one of the teams to beat this year around the country on that Division III level. This is a club that was 22-2 over the last couple of years. They have 25 seniors coming back, including Brett Russ, one of the best Division III quarterbacks in the land.
Since Brett Russ has taken our reins, 26-6. He's been 22-2 the last 2 years. He's played in all kinds of big games, from the national championship to the ECAC championship. And if he stays healthy, which hopefully he will, and has any kind of productive numbers, he'll come out and break every ECAC passing record that there is in Division III, from attempts to completions to touchdowns.
I welcome the notoriety, but I think the pressure lies on all of us offensively. With the backfield and the offensive line, we're all experienced. We're mostly all seniors, so everyone that's in our offense has played before, so I think the pressure lies on everyone, not just one person.
Yeah, Baggs certainly has got all the horses. Running backs, tailbacks, tight ends, you name it, they're experienced and they're back for their senior year, and yet there are some concerns.
A complacency when you have 25 kids back who's experienced a tremendous amount. When you have kids, you know, really starting to believe in what they read in, and everybody telling them how good they are, and I think you run into all those factors.
All right, RPI, meanwhile, noted mainly for its hockey tradition, and then most recently basketball, is suddenly making a name for itself in football. The Giants and the 49ers have faced each other in many showdowns recently, but there are some new wrinkles this year, like how will the Ray Handley Giants look? And how will the former #2 quarterbacks, Jeff Hostetler and Steve Young, perform in starting roles?
The thing is, this has been my job for a long time. If Joe goes down and is not unable to play, then I come in and play well and keep the ship going in the same direction we've been going. Came earlier this year than in other years, but really I feel like this is what I've been prepared for, so I don't feel uncomfortable at all.
The whole offense was designed around Joe. So, you know, Steve Young's runs it just as well.
So it's a new era for the Giants. It's also a new transition period for the 49ers. Nevertheless, this, like those of the past, is still a big game.
It's a game that I'm quite sure everybody wants to see. It's a good game for us because of what happened the last 2 times we played each other, and it's kind of like a tiebreaker here. So it's very important for us to establish ourselves as being a dominant team and a team to be reckoned with this year.
All right, we've obviously jumped ahead of ourselves a little bit. That was a preview of tomorrow night's Giant 49er game from the Meadowlands. Let me get you back over to RPI. And again, we've talked so much when we talk RPI about their hockey tradition and most recently basketball. But hey, watch out for the football team.
This is what we'd like to do this year, you know, just build a winning program here, you know, something that, you know, is not up and down. You know, we're just year after year, you know, if you play RPI, you know you're going to be playing a good football team.
Yeah, RPI is coming off a 6-2-1 season, but it's been 50 years since they've been able to piece together back-to-back winning seasons. Could this be that year?
I mean, we feel more comfortable with what we've done now, and we gained a little bit of respect from other teams. In the past, we didn't get that very much.
I think we can back it up more than we did 2 years ago. As I said before, a lot of the seniors were here 2 years ago when we went 3-6, and that's still in our minds. We don't want that to happen again, and we're making sure that a lot of the underclassmen who might not have been here, might not have heard about it, understand that going 3-6 or a losing record after being real good does not feel good at all. So I think a lot of the seniors are going to make sure that we play hard on the football field every Saturday and we don't go 3-6 again.
Well, I'll tell you, the big loss for the Engineers comes at running back, where sophomore J.P. Peterson, last year's ECAC Division III Rookie of the Year, is going to be out for the season with an ankle injury. That'll hurt. But their starting quarterback, Troy White, returns, and with a solid offensive line, the old O should put up some big numbers. I'll be right back to wrap up Big Board Sports with auto racing, and we'll recap a wild week 1 of the NFL season. Stay with us. We wrap up Big Board Sports tonight with golf. Mark Brooks won the Greater Milwaukee Open by 1 stroke over Robert Gomez. Brooks becomes the 5th player to post 2 victories on the PGA Tour this year. Brooks made $180,000. The LPGA Rail Classic in Springfield, Illinois, after 2 rounds of the 54-hole event. Pat Bradley with a 65 today at -12. Laura Davies at -12. She shot 70. And there's Saratoga's Dottie Mockery right in contention again. Dottie at -8, just 4 strokes off the pace. In auto racing, the good old boys were revving things up this weekend at the Darlington, South Carolina for the Southern 500. And Harry Gant took the lead with his Oldsmobile on the 298th lap and held off Ernie Irvin and his Chevy. Gant captured his 13th career victory and picked up $179,000, winning the Southern 500. All right, recapping our top stories. In Buffalo, a wild one on week 1. The Bills beat the Miami Dolphins 35-31. Jets won their opener in the Meadowlands 16-13 over the Bucks as Pat Leahy connects on 3 field goals. The Giants go tomorrow night. We'll be in the Meadowlands. I'll have live reports for you on both our 6 at 11 o'clock show. Quarterback injuries, folks. Randall Cunningham, pending an MRI exam tomorrow, could be gone for the season. Ligament damage in his left knee. We're gone for this Sunday night anyway. For our entire staff, I'm Rodger Wyland. So long, everybody. And again, we'll join you tomorrow night in the Meadowlands for the Monday night opener, the Giants and the 49ers. Have a good one.
Big Board Sports, sponsored in part by Cotman Transmission, Route 9 Latham and Central Avenue Albany, and by True Value Hardware, your store of first choice.